Hello, Vishwa.
So it's 12. So we start.
Yes, you can start, Biswajit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kamlesh sir, and thank you, Atul sir, for joining in for today's session. And also, I would like to thank Manjushri ma'am, who is our evaluator, Sports Authority of India. And also, thank you all the participants for joining in for the session today. As you all know, we have been relaying 2 to 3 instructions to you every day. First and foremost, use the chat box only for conveying your queries and not for anything else, not for good morning and good afternoon messages. Only the Sai coaches are supposed to post their name and designation in the chat box. No one else is to use the chat box for anything else. Secondly, please remember that the examination that will be held on 31st and 30th of May, regarding that, you need to register yourself. And for the registration details that will be sent to you, for that you just need to fill up a contact information form that will be sent in the chat box throughout this session. There will be a link. You need to go to the link and fill up the contact information. Those who have not done that yet, please do so. Those who have already done that, you did not do that, we'll get back to you and track back and give you the details of how to register also in due time. And thirdly, there is also a link regarding all the study materials and PDFs of the sessions that have been held so far. So that link will also be forwarded in the chat box. Anyone who wants to access all the study materials can go to the Google Drive link and have an access at that. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Kamlesh sir. Over to you now.
Thank you, Biswajit. Once again, a very good afternoon to all the participants for this session. We hope you all are safe and healthy and following the advisories, which is very essential and it's for our benefit. So please do follow all the advisories that have been given by the authorities from time to time. We all want you to be safe and healthy. We also would like to thank Sports Authority of India, Table Tennis Federation of India. Because of their initiative, we are able to come on a common platform like this, where we are able to get good amount of knowledge, which for our development and our upgradation. We have had various speakers who have taken out their valuable time and shared their valuable experience and knowledge with us. And I am sure just noting it down is going to only make it better for us. So please, those who have not been doing so, you can always start today. Take a pen and paper and keep noting important points as it comes. We also wish to thank our evaluator, Manjushri Dayanand ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Before I go to the introduction of our guest speaker today, I just was scrolling today and we already have this instruction that whenever you are there in this session and your video is on, ensure there is no movement behind you, number one. Secondly, we can see you and not the ceiling or the fan. So please adjust the angle accordingly. We would love to see you. This is a very serious and a knowledge sharing platform. We must give it the respect it deserves. And we are all are sportsmen, so discipline comes inbuilt. So I don't need to mention anything more. If at all your connection or bandwidth is not good, you can switch off your video or put them on mute mode and you can hear what has been said. But ensure that you are seated in a proper place, in a proper manner, in a formal manner, because this is where you're getting Gnan, knowledge. And Gnan Dan is one of the biggest Dan as far as our culture. So respect it. Thank you very much. With that few words, we've had a lot of speakers talking about various techniques, tactics, an important aspect of the game of table tennis. That is on table or after table preparation, which is match connected, yes. And it has been very wonderful. Today, we are going to have a speaker who's slightly different. It is related to match, but this aspect many a times we overlook or we ignore or we don't think it is important. It is very important. Olympic, we all know and we all respect Olympics. We all have dreams too about Olympics, various dreams. The viewer would want an Indian to win a medal. The player would want a medal for himself. The parents of the players would want medal. All their countrymen would want a medal for their own country. But the biggest thing about Olympics is fair play. Hence, every game has their own rules and regulations. And we as sportsmen must follow them. Firstly, we must know them, we must understand them, and then follow them. Many times we just don't know. And we hear so many times that this umpire made this error, this referee was not fair to me, etc. All those things we keep hearing. But there are certain rules which they are guided. And I'm happy to say that our country, as far as technical aspect is concerned, the umpiring, referees, we are having a very good, you can say, bank of umpires who are very efficient and doing and giving their services at the international level and have won accolades for themselves and our country. And one of such person is going to be a speaker today. Is none other than Dr. Atul Dubey from Ajmer. Born and brought up in Ajmer. Table tennis is his passion. Professionally, he's in the education field. He was the principal of BPEd college for 10 years. And currently, he's a member of NCERT Material Committee. But table tennis remained his passion. He is the international referee, has consistently been a blue badge umpire for 12 consecutive years, which is not an easy thing. I request Atul later on to tell the viewers about what is blue badge, and you can explain much better than me. And he has officiated in more than 40 international events, including Rio Paralympics, Commonwealth Games at Glasgow, Scotland, and Youth Olympics at Brazil. He's written books on well-being and health for standard 9th and 10th in Rajasthan board. So who is better person to speak about the subject today? He is from sports faculty and also especially contributed so much for the development of game of table tennis. Atul, we are very, very honored to have you. Thank you for sparing your valuable time, and we look forward to your knowledge and experience, which will only enhance us. Thank you, Atul. It's all over to you.
Thanks a lot, Kamlesh sir. It's just like all the saplings and the small plants only flourish and nourish when there are good gardeners like you and TTFI and all the senior administrators of sports in the country. So, hello friends, coaches and TT lovers in the country and abroad. Before I start this session, let me first avail the privilege to commend Sports Authority of India and Table Tennis Federation of India for initiating this process and providing a very good opportunity to keep ourselves updated. Friends, we are learning and revising a lot through attending and interacting with the masters of table tennis from around the globe. We are lucky enough that few of them are born and grown in Mother India. The outcome of these meetings will sure uplift the standards of our beloved game on more high altitude.
Atul, you can be little louder because their voice is breaking a little bit in between.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry to disturb you.
So all the previous speakers were elite and highly recognized in their respective field, and now you will have to listen me is just like eating a chili sauce after some sweet desserts or roshogulla, etc. So all the speakers have emphasized on techniques or skills, as what Kamlesh sir recently told. Proper use of equipments or coaching pedagogy or application of tactics or strategies as per their expertise. The common agenda discovered from most of these talks were that coaches should always keep themselves updated with the rapidly changing scenario in the contemporary table tennis world. Hence, today we will be talking on the technical issues of the rules, which should be nurtured in trainees. But before we start, let me be very clear why to listen this session. I'll request Biswajit ji to please come on the second slide.
Second slide.
Yeah, second slide. So, why to listen listen this session, yeah, what is the significance of this talk today I'm going to deliver. The reason is, if you are a coach and want your pupil or disciple to reach beyond, or at least up to the potential she possesses, then this is the session which can contribute a lot. देखिए, एज एक कोच के रूप में, एक प्रशिक्षक के रूप में, यदि आप चाहते हैं कि आप जिसको प्रशिक्षण दे रहे हैं वह उस प्रशिक्षण हॉल के दीवारों तक ही सीमित रहे, तब तक तो ठीक है। यदि आपको लगता है कि उस खिलाड़ी में, उस प्रशिक्षु में इतनी संभावनाएं हैं कि वह आगे बढ़ करके आपके क्लब का, आपके जिले का, आपके राज्य का या देश का नाम रोशन करे, तो इस सेशन से आपको कुछ ना कुछ इनपुट्स जरूर मिलने वाला है। दैट आई कैन एंश्योर। Dear friends, if the rules and laws will be injected to the players properly in their early teens, then on later days or years, you can focus on their skills, motor components, techniques, tactics, and mental strength. And if your player will lack with the inputs in this area, then unfortunately, he or she may gift the point to their opponents through foul plays or through penalty point systems. तो इसलिए यदि जब बालक की या बालिका की किशोरावस्था में बालक जा रहा है, 8 साल से 12 साल का जो समय है, उस वक्त यदि आप उसको लॉज या इन सारी चीजों के बारे में जानकारी देते हैं, तो जैसे ही प्यूबर्टी शुरू होने वाली है, 11-12 साल की एज आने वाली है, जो लोग शाम को साइंस का सेशन अटेंड करें, दे मे बी नोइंग दैट आई थिंक few days back there was a talk on puberty. So in later stages, after completion of 11 or 12 years, you can more focus on the mental training, on the motor components, and these all things. Vishnu ji, please, can we go for the third slide? So now what to do and when to do. You may be remembering the talk delivered by Ravi Chandran sir, and he was talking about the mesocycle, macrocycle, microcycle. So macrocycle means it's an early phase or 10 or 12 months before we start, and then meso is for last 4 or 6 months, and micro is the just recent 5, 6, 7, 10 days of the event. So my inputs will also be based on the same. Communicate general laws of the table tennis during the pep talks or the adaptation phase after a crest load to your players in macro teaching phase. जब हम अपना load intensity बढ़ा रहे हैं, being a coach, you all are knowing what is adaptation, what is crest load. तो जब हमने crest load दिया है अपने player को और adaptation phase आ रहा है, तो उस adaptation phase में we always prefer to go with the pep talks, and with during these pep talks, we can convert those pep talks in more outcome-based manner. We can discuss the laws to those guys, and because laws are universal and static and not going to change every now and then comes regulation that may slightly vary depending upon the conditions of the venue, the place, the area, or sometimes limitations of the organizers. And lastly, taking favor of regulations through strategic application in the span of tournaments. And being a referee, I had felt that this smart move of you all coaches in all various ranking events already. So no need to throw light on them by me, because you all are very much aware and very much updated how to take the favor of the rules in the favor of the player. So another aspect to remember in today's talk is the slides. Whatever slides today will be shown to you are simply prepared through the books of ITTF or some different authors. I can show you some books here. So you can see that this is a handbook of ITTF and some good books for coaches I had borrowed from my friends. Most of you may be having these books, so there is no worry. So all the slides prepared by me are through these books. The content is already available with you, so no need to go for no need to have any sort of panic if you had failed to follow the slides. These all things are with you already. During NIS diplomas or certificate course, or those who had done ITTF level 1, 2, or 3 coaches development programs, these study materials are with you already in the form of notes or books, or you had borrowed or you had purchased from the library or whatever. May I ask Vishwajit to go for the 4th slide. So we'll be starting with the service rules, and as per the laws of table tennis, there is already 7 or 8 pages are there which are showing the laws, and it is clearly mentioned, since we will be starting with the service laws. Service laws are in the chapter 2 with the subclause 6 and 6.1 to 6.7. The main thing we have to remember is that the ball, while serving, the ball should be visible at the last time of the contact with the skin of the palm, up to the time it is hit, it is struck by the player or the server. The main focus of all the umpires is to give the justice to both the players, server and the receiver. So if the player is hiding the ball, it may not be the intention of the player to apply a spin or whatever, but knowingly or unknowingly, if the server is hiding the ball, then there may be a declaration of foul serve from the umpire. Major already know, and I am again revising it, that up to the time of contact with the palm, while it is projected into the air, above the table, behind the headline, and when the ball is in the projection, in the parabola, going up and coming down, it should not be hidden by the shoulders or by the face or by some, if you are playing doubles, by your partner. तो यदि बॉल जब आप प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं हिट करने के लिए, तब जो मुख्य बातें हमको अपने खिलाड़ियों को सिखानी होंगी, क्योंकि अभी भी कई बार देखा गया है कि कैडेट और सब जूनियर इवेंट्स के अंदर हम लोग थोड़े से इतने कंसर्न नहीं होते हैं, तो प्लेयर कई बार जब बॉल को टॉस कर रहा होता है तो उसका पाम टेबल के सरफेस से नीचे चला जाता है, तो उस वक्त कई बार अंपायर आपको फाउल देते हैं और देना स्वाभाविक है, न्याय संगत है। तो उस वक्त बस इन चीजों का ध्यान रखना है कि आपको अपने फ्री हैंड को, जैसे ही बॉल को प्रोजेक्ट किया है, हटा लेना है। कई बार फ्री हैंड से भी जो है बॉल की साइटिंग हाइड हो जाती है, बॉल को देखा जाना रुक जाता है, तो उस स्थिति में भी अंपायर आपके खिलाड़ी को फाउल दे सकता है। May I ask for the next slide, please? 5 and 6. First 5. Yeah. Projection of ball, as you can see and you can read on the slide, it is very clearly mentioned. And in slide 7, please, can you go for the next slide, please? Yes, you can see clearly that in figure X, there is a parabola if A and D. If the ball is, which is projected in the air, if its trajectory is as per the A or as per the D, then 100% umpire is going to call a fault to your player. But if the parabola is as per B and C, if the ball is going upwards near vertical, then no problem. Slightly deviation, 5%, 10%, 15% is a biomechanical aspect, and it cannot be overruled. So in that situation, it is okay. Similarly, in the figure Y, you can see that the ball which was struck from the same place has been given projection from the same place and also struck at the same place, but there is a difference of trajectory. If the trajectory has traveled as per the figure A, means the linear motion of the trajectory is A, then umpire is 100% going to give a fault to your player. And if the trajectory is as per this figure you can see B, then it is okay, because due to a high trajectory, due to a high parabola, ball has traveled a bit, and this is a high toss service, and in high toss service, sometimes players start tossing the ball from the midline and come strike on the edge of the table. So it is okay because this is a high toss service. Here I want to emphasize on one more aspect that umpires have faced several times. This is nowhere in the rule book, that sometimes umpire has given fault to a player. Immediately the coach has risen from the chair, or the player has objected to the umpire that you had not given me warning before giving me a foul. Dear coaches, friends, कृपया इस बात का ध्यान रखें. Please remember that if an umpire or assistant umpire is very much confident that it is a clear violation of service rule, there is no warning at all. This is clearly mentioned in our Gita, in our Bible, which we used to say rule book, कि यदि umpire या assistant umpire clearly confident है कि ball projection में या hit करते वक्त या किसी और वक्त नियमों का उल्लंघन किया गया है, if the violation has been done, this is a fault, there is no warning. Yes, if umpire is not sure, that is also for only one instance, first instance. यदि umpire sure नहीं है कि ये सर्विस फाउल हो सकती है या नहीं है, तो पहले मौके पर अंपायर प्लेयर को रोक करके एक warning देगा कि I suspect, I doubt this may be a foul service. Please rectify, please correct. But on the second occurrence, if umpire still finds that this is not a clear-cut service, there will be no warning, and then umpire will award a penalty for the foul service. This is very clear. And another thing to remember, यदि फिफ्थ गेम डिसाइडर गेम चल रहा है, स्कोर 8-10 against you or 10-8 in favor of you, you are serving. Even at that instance also, if you are doing any foul service, umpire can give foul. So be particular regarding the service application. I'll request Vishwajit ji to please go for the 8th slide. There is a video which is showing the service relaxations for the para players, because few of the coaches in this fraternity listening to us today, maybe imparting coaching to the para players also. Slide 8.
So you want the video to be played?
Yeah, video clip. You can directly play on slide also.
I'll play it from outside because the slide might crash.
Umpires should only relax the service rules according to the actual disability and should not allow obvious faults. In singles, if in service the ball leaves the table by either of the sidelines, on one or more bounces, a lag shall be called. However, no lag shall be called if the receiver strikes the ball before it crosses a sideline. The service is a lag if after touching the receiver's court, the ball returns in the direction of the net. But no lag shall be called if the receiver strikes the ball before it bounces back towards the net. The service is a lag if the ball comes to rest on the receiver's court. But no lag shall be called if the receiver strikes the ball before it takes a second bounce on his side of the playing surface. The assistant umpire could raise hand above head to indicate a lag without.
So go back to the slides.
Yeah. Slide 8. So 9. So the video you had seen is developed by Beijing Sports University through ITTF Technical Committee. Thanks to our chair, Youngma and Ronald V, and Warner Thury, who has contributed a lot in preparing such videos for we all persons.
Little louder, your voice is breaking.
Okay. So now you had almost seen and aware about the service precautions, service rules, applications. Now we'll be starting with the session, the slide called racket. The main purpose of studying the racket is that there are nearly 7 or 8 types of legitimacy assessment of racket before the match. And you all, your guys, your trainees, or as a coaches, you often go to the racket control area or 1 or day before the commencement of the event. Organizers has managed to plan a voluntary racket testing. The procedure of racket must fulfill all the requirements described by ITTF before the match. Umpires, assistant umpires, or racket controllers assess the racket on various parameters. So in the next slide, some changes were supposed to take. You all may be aware that there is the change of the rule or the regulations in any sports, any Olympic sports, is from the first day of the next month after completion of the Olympics and Paralympics. So regarding the rackets, there was a plan, or there was a ITTF has scheduled to change some racket regulations from 1st October 2020, because up to that time this Tokyo Olympics or Paralympics was supposed to be over, but now it is postponed up to 2021. So from 1st October 2021, there will be a change in racket rules. Please go through with the site, check what is there, and please be update yourself so that in future occurrences, your players must be having the rackets as per the ITTF regulations. Abhijit ji, next slide, please. So this is a form or list, you can say. This list is known as LARC, list of authorized rubber coverings. In the bottom, you can see the URL ID also. You can download it through the ITTF website, which is showing the rubbers which are eligible to be used on the rackets. It is updated every trimesterly, every year trimesterly. And big thing is that कि इसमें अगले 3 महीने after 3 months which rubbers are going to be discontinued or which rubbers will be eligible to be used after 3 months. इसके लिए भी जो last page होता है LARC का, last page of the LARC is having that list of those rubbers जो कि 3 महीने बाद खत्म होने वाले हैं या disqualify होने वाले हैं या जो 3 महीने बाद में खेले जा सकेंगे. तो उस लिस्ट को आप हमेशा अपडेट करते रहिए. हर 3 महीने बाद में आपकी वेबसाइट से आप इसको डाउनलोड कर लीजिए, अपने रिकॉर्ड में रखिए और अपने ट्रेनीज को आप इस तरीके से देखते रहिए कि कहीं इनमें से कोई ऐसा खिलाड़ी तो नहीं है who is using those rubbers which are going to be discontinued after 3 months or 6 months. Next slide, please. So the legitimacy of the racket is tested accordingly in most of the events. Organizers manages voluntary testing. It is always prescribed that all the rackets a player is holding must be checked during voluntary testing. I still remember an event that was a Junior Asian in 2009. मैं Junior Asian 2009 में खेला जाना था. I was chief racket controller and along with Mr. Hari Pillai from Gujarat. So voluntary testing was going on, and junior players of China came to us, and they had produced their rackets to us. That time, this mini ray machine was not there. Inez machine was there, and India TTFI was having 5 machines that time. Most of the countries were not having a single, but we were having 5 machines that time. So the Chinese player gave the rackets to us, and with a very erected cervical, with a very proud feeling, I asked to their interpreter that India is having 5 machines. How many machines CTTA, China TTA Association, is having? Interpreter asked to the player, and the player said, we don't know how much machines CTTA is having. We know only that the top 10 ranked player of all age categories in our country are having these machines on our own. So see how much they are updated, how much they are concerned about the legitimacy of the racket. So these are the parameters you can see on the screen on which the racket is tested. First of all, the officials are checking the authorized rubbers, whether they are in the LARC or not. Then measuring the thickness of the rubber, rigidness is there, flatness is there, glossiness is there, evenness of the blade and ply is there. Now mini ray machine is there. It is quite costly. I think 6 lakh plus rupees is the cost of the mini ray. And now these all things are utilized for checking the legitimacy of the racket. Vishwajit ji, can you play the next slide? The same for the racket. Here you I want to discuss a small thing. Why this legitimacy or VOC testing is there. Volatile organic component is a component which is providing a very big loss to the alveoli of our lungs. Our respiratory system is later up. It means it starts showing the impact of the VOC which we had contained in our early childhood. The unfortunate part is that still in India, we had witnessed so many coaches and parents even who are suggesting their wards, their kids, their trainees to go with the Omni or that sort of gel, which are having a very high amount of VOC. So when the kids are in the initial age, they are growing age, the VOC which they are inhaling while pasting or removing the rubber is not going to show any effect. But that same will start showing effect on the literal life of those same players. Next slide, please. Here you can see these are the slides which are showing. I'll later on discuss with the regulations that what is this, what is the racket. While players who are playing on the floor in between the games, they are not supposed to leave their rackets on the table. Only one situation, if the racket is wrapped, this is in para event only. If the racket is wrapped with them, then they are supposed or they are allowed to carry the rackets with them. Next slide, please. If we can play it. Yeah, play please.
Shall we give it Jonathan to see what he makes? Give him something to do.
We had that. He's seen it before. I think I took it to him. We had that in the first match. A thing of great beauty.
Friends, you may or you may not believe that this is the racket produced in a very highly recognized tournament, I think, which is the next event after the Olympics, in which 70 or more countries participate. And this racket was produced in before match test racket testing to an official, and I was assisting him as an assistant umpire in that event. I think that was 2014. And our country, which is very much economically sound, the player has produced that racket. So obviously it was not allowed to play with. So the next thing is that if a player's racket has been disapproved or has been failed in a racket legitimacy test for 4 consecutive times in 4 consecutive years, ITTF may take some disciplinary action against that player. So please remember that your racket, please go through with the voluntary testing and carry 1 or 2 or 3 similar rackets as per your choice. Give all the rackets, and unfortunately, fortunately, if 1 or 2 has found in the voluntary racket testing, there will be no problem. But if in the official pre-test racket assessment test, it is found illegal, and 4 times in the 4 it is found illegal, ITTF आपके खिलाड़ी के अगेंस्ट कोई एक्शन ले सकती है. दूसरी चीज, यस सर.
हाँ, ये आपने जो कहा ना वॉलंटियरली रैकेट टेस्टिंग, इसके बारे में और जो मैंडेटरी होती है जो आपको करनी पड़ती है, तो आप ये बता सकते हैं कि वॉलंटरी टेस्टिंग क्यों करनी चाहिए, मतलब व्हाट इज इट एडवाइजेबल और नॉट, एंड इफ इट इज एडवाइजेबल व्हाई?
जी देखिए, वॉलंटरी टेस्ट रैकेट टेस्टिंग इज जस्ट लाइक आप अपने आप को स्ट्रेसलेस करेंगे, उसके बहुत सारे फायदे हैं. जैसे आपका इवेंट जो है वो 14 तारीख को शुरू होने वाला है, तो हर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग कमेटी टेक्निकल कमेटी के साथ में कंसल्ट करके 12 तारीख के मिड से 12 हाफ डे एंड 13 फुल डे एक वॉलंटरी रैकेट टेस्टिंग का एक सेशन वहां पे कर लेते हैं. रैकेट कंट्रोलर्स वहां पे आके बैठ जाते हैं, वहां पर उनके सारे मैकेनिज्म, सारे ऑपरेटर्स, सारे टूल्स वहां पे रखे होते हैं, और प्लेयर्स जो अपना वार्मिंग अप सेशन या जो अपना ट्रेनिंग सेशन होता है उसको कंप्लीट करके जाएं, वहां पे अपना रैकेट टेस्ट कराएं या पहले जाकर के रैकेट टेस्ट कराएं. रैकेट टेस्ट कराने के बाद में 2 चीजें होती हैं. एक, आपके अंतरात्मा, आपकी जो कंसाइंस है, आपका जो इनर सेल्फ है, वो आपको कॉन्फिडेंट कर देता है कि यस, माय रैकेट हैज ऑलरेडी बीन टेस्टेड बाय द ऑफिशियल्स. और उसके बाद में देखिए 72 आवर्स या 48 आवर्स पहले अगर आपने रबर की पेस्टिंग करी है, मे बी आपने वाटर ग्लू लगाया है या किसी और कारण से लगाया है या कोई और ग्लू आपने यूज किया है, तो 48 to 72 आवर्स यदि उसके अंदर वीओसी की सपोज प्रोपोर्शनेट अवेलेबिलिटी भी है, उसकी फ्यूमिंग भी है, तो 48 to 72 आवर्स में निकल जाती है. और मिनी रे के अंदर जब आप उसको चेक करेंगे तो उसके अंदर आप इस बात को अपने आप को कॉन्फिडेंट कर लेंगे, अपने आप को इंश्योर कर पाएंगे कि यस, द रैकेट कंट्रोलर हैज क्लियर्ड माय रैकेट एंड नाउ इट इज लेजिटिमेट टू प्ले विद दिस. इन केस यदि आपने वॉलंटरीली अपनी स्वेच्छा से, अपनी खुशी से रैकेट टेस्टिंग नहीं कराई है, तो समवेयर इन योर माइंड, समवेयर इन योर कंसाइंस यू विल कीप ऑन फीलिंग अ सॉर्ट ऑफ स्कैर, थोड़ा सा डर, थोड़ा सा फियर आपके मन में रहेगा, यार मैंने नहीं कराया है. सपोज प्री मैच में, टेस्ट में यदि मेरा रैकेट फेल हो गया, देन व्हाट विल आई डू, व्हाट शैल आई डू? क्योंकि आपका पूरा प्रैक्टिस उस पर्टिकुलर रैकेट के ऊपर है, आपने सारा ट्रेनिंग, सारा शेड्यूल, आपने सारी प्लानिंग उस रैकेट के साथ में की है, और फिर आपने अपने आप को इंश्योर नहीं किया है वॉलंटरी रैकेट के थ्रू, this is a very good opportunity provided by the technical committee or the organizing committee कि players अपने आप को stressless कर लें. Yes, now I am very much confident कि मेरा रैकेट ओके है, चाहे प्री टेस्ट हो चाहे पोस्ट मैच टेस्ट हो, मेरा रैकेट फेल नहीं होगा. So this is a good feel. Coach should always insist their players कि एक प्री मैच के पहले ही जो वॉलंटरी रैकेट टेस्टिंग होती है उसमें वो रैकेट टेस्ट करा लें, ताकि चाहे ग्लॉसीनेस हो, फ्लैटनेस हो, रिजिडनेस हो. कई बार पेस्टिंग जब हमने रबर की है तो उसमें बड़ा कोई स्लाइड सा बबल सपोज कई बार रह गया है, तो स्लाइड सा बबल भी आपकी प्री मैच रैकेट टेस्टिंग में आपके रैकेट की एलिजिबिलिटी को चैलेंज कर सकता है, आपके रैकेट की को डिबार कर सकता है कि आप अगला मैच इस रैकेट से नहीं खेलेंगे. तो दैट्स व्हाई ऑलवेज इट इज प्रिस्क्राइब्ड, इट इज ऑलवेज सजेस्टेड कि आप वॉलंटरी रैकेट टेस्टिंग में जाकर के ही अपनी रैकेट को चेक करवा लें. दूसरी चीज, सेकंड थिंग व्हिच अ कोच शुड ऑलवेज टीच टू देयर प्लेयर्स, मे बी अ बॉय और गर्ल, जो हम बैक स्पिन करते हैं या जब हम पुश खेलते हैं तो कई बार ड्यूरिंग द मैच, सपोज यू आर हैविंग बैक टू बैक मैचेस एंड फर्स्ट मैच यू हैड गॉन फॉर द प्री मैच racket testing, and during the match you had played so many back spins or push, and sometimes your racket has collided or rubbed with the table, though the table surface has not moved, so this is not foul. But वो जो रब किया गया है बैक स्पिन खेलते वक्त या पुश करते वक्त, जो रबर के अंदर जो फ्रिक्शन हुआ है, उसके अंदर जो एब्रेशन हुआ है, that abrasion may had caused the loss of the rubber with the ply, and that maybe sometimes goes beyond the capacity of legal कट्स या लीगल जो एक्सपेंशन होना चाहिए रबर का प्लाई के ऊपर. तो इसलिए प्लीज इंश्योर और प्लीज टीच योर प्लेयर्स व्हाइल imparting the back spin or the push, because these are the actions in which in the follow through motion racket may have a clash or a aberration with the top of the table surface. तो इन दो skills को जब आप अपने बच्चों को सिखा रहे हैं, while you are teaching these both skills to your disciples, to your players, तो आप थोड़ा सा इस तरह से उसके अंदर कंट्रोल डेवलप करना सिखाएं बच्चे को कि वो रैकेट दैट मे नॉट हैव एन इम्पैक्ट विद द सरफेस ऑफ द टेबल, टॉप ऑफ द टेबल. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. ये अच्छा अपील एक बार थोड़ा हम लेट शुरू करेंगे. एक स्लाइड बीच में डबल दिखा दी गई थी, वही मैं आपको एक बार रिपीट करता हूँ. समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस, ये एक रूल के ही अंदर का एक पार्ट है कि sometimes due to failing to give a good return or failing to apply a good top spin, lob or hit or whatever, in little emotion word I had learned 2 years back only. Earlier I was using the word agony or aggression, so these words may have some sort of objection, so nowadays we are using the word emotions. Due to some emotions, after failing to have a point, some players hit their racket to their palm, to the table, to the arena, throw to the floor or whatever. उसके एक पेनल्टी तो या आपके ऊपर एक एक्शन तो अंपायर के द्वारा मिसबिहेवियर का नहीं होना है. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली इफ द रैकेट हैज बीन ब्रोकन, it is clearly written in the rule book that if the racket is broken accidentally, then player is having a right to replace the other racket, which will be tested in a post match test. But if the racket is broken deliberately, again I am using word deliberately, or by the action of yourself willingly, उस situation में umpire is not going to allow you to replace the racket until unless there is a loss of playing rubber. जो playing striking zone जो है, उसका जो striking part है, यदि उसके अंदर कोई गड़बड़ हो गई है, उसके अंदर कोई टूट फूट हो गई है, in that situation only the racket will be allowed, but through some disciplinary actions. But यदि आपने deliberately तोड़ा है तब, और उसका playing surface intact है, suppose grip टूट गया है या कोई ऐसी जगह से टूट गया है जहां से कि आप उसका कंट्रोल मैनेज करते थे, but striking surface okay hai, then you have to play from that broken racket only. Again I am repeating this, please listen carefully. If the racket has been broken through some accident, no problem, it can be replaced. If the racket has been broken by a willing act of a player, maybe in agony, aggression, or in a reputed word we can say emotion, and the playing surface is intact, whereas gripping or some other areas has been broken, then in that situation, the player has to play with that broken racket, and he is not allowed to play, or he is not allowed to replace the racket. Please
Uh,
remember.
Atul, who
Sir.
will decide whether it is deliberate or not?
Suppose when in a follow through or after doing or after imparting any action, the racket has been slipped from the hand and has been broken or striken with anything, then that is accidental.
So
But
umpire
if
will decide.
yeah, umpire, it is umpire.
Table umpire is the final
Yes,
authority.
table umpire has to decide, because, and if I am throwing it to the surface, then obviously this is a deliberate action.
Okay.
But in such scenario, umpires are quite humble and they always cooperate with the player.
Okay, okay. And if somebody objects to this decision, supposing umpire has taken it considered as a deliberate, but the coach and the player obviously, you know that most of the time it will happen that they will feel it is not correct. So, what is the process next?
Coincidentally, the next process was the next slide I am coming
Okay,
to
fair.
there. That
Sorry,
was slide 17. Slide 17 was an appeal. See, it is clearly mentioned here that appeal, any decision related with matter of fact cannot be altered in any case. However, appeal for the decision related with the wrong interpretation of laws by the umpire can be altered by referee by referee. But any team management cannot appeal to Tournament Management Regulation Committee against a wrong interpretation of laws against a referee. This is clearly mentioned here also. In responding to appeals, the referee usually take care to observe the relevant procedures. In an individual event, he or she should deal only with a player or pair. A team captain or coach should not be allowed to intercede on his or her player's behalf. But an interpreter may assist where there is a language difficulty. In a team match, any protest by a player that is not supported by his or her team captain is ignored in most of the cases. When the appeal is against the action of a match official, only that official should participate in the argument of the case. The referee may at some stage wish to hear the evidence or opinion of another official or a witness. But once that person has made his or her statement, he or she should take no further part in any decision, and interference by anyone not directly concerned must be firmly disagreed. So, and the previous slide has also shown that any decision related with the matter of fact cannot be altered, even referee. If there is a wrong interpretation of rule, in that situation, referee may come and interfere, and then referee can correct the things which has been done. If there is a problem with the decision of the referee, then the sufferers may approach to the management or the organizing committee. But then if the complaint is regarding to the rules, then even management committee or the organizing committee is having no interference in that. If that is something related with the application of the ambience or something like that, then there may be a superior authority regarding that. Later, it is somewhere I had mentioned in the previous slide. Vishwajit, can you please go to previous slide? Yeah. Here it is written, a player or in a team match, his or her captain may appeal against what he or she believes to be a wrong rule interpretation by the umpire, assistant umpire, or stroke counter. But no appeal may be made against a decision on fact by any of these officials in accordance with his or her designated authority. Such an appeal may be made to the referee, whose decision is final on any question of rule interpretation. If, however, the player or captain believes that the referee is incorrect, a further appeal may be made by the Players Association to TTFI Technical Committee, or if it is an international event, then ITTF Rules Committee. This committee will give a ruling for future occasions, but it cannot change the decision already made by the referee. an appeal may be made also to the tournament management committee against the referee's decision on any matter not covered by a rule. So I think this is very clear picture to all. Shall we go for the next line? The ball. So, being a coach, we are already very much aware and concerned that before the start or the commencement of any event, organizing committee or the federation TTFI, or if it is an international event, ITTF, always releases a prospectus, and that in prospectus they clearly mention that which make or which brand of the ball is going to be used, floors, light, intensity, table, and these all things. So. And the balls, the selection of the balls before the match, there is a procedure. One good news or one good info most of us are already having, that few years back when after the inception of UTT, our country organizes, means there were...
Your voice is breaking. Your voice.
Is it coming now?
Yeah, now that's clear. Thank you.
So friends, after the inception of UTT in our country, the organizers discussed so many aspects to make our game more lovable on the screen, with different stakeholders, and broadcasters were also one of them. And it was revealed that during a 90-minute telecast on the TV, 30 minutes or plus are wasted in ball retrieval, which reduced almost 30 to 40% of actions on screen. So with the first season of UTT, this multi-ball concept was introduced, and later on ITTF, also following these all things, has introduced this multi-ball, use of multi-ball in some specified tournaments, especially in the semi-finals or finals or onwards. So now you have to go through with certain regulations that if the player is going to participate in a particular tournament, whether the semi-finals and finals will be played with this multi-ball practices or with that traditional practices. And in our national rankings also championships, it is not all possible, because we are hosting it on 16 tables, 20 tables, and if every table will be using multi-table, then so many ball pickers, and the administratively and financially feasibility will be on stake. There is a big sign of exclamation. And in the routine practices, as you all know, 40 minutes before the team championship and 20 minutes before the individual championships, players are requested to report to the call area, and there are so many pre-match formalities takes place, in which ball selection is also one of them. So both the teams or the players are having an opportunity to go there and select their balls. In the merit order, they give the ball to the main umpire or the assistant umpire, whoever is in charge of the call area proceedings. And then after marching into the field of play, they start practicing with those selected balls. No player is allowed to select the balls on the tables after appearing, because presentation is a very big thing nowadays. Spectators, revenue, so many things are associated with all the games, all the sports. So these all pre-match practices or pre-match formalities are very essential. Please insist your players to report to the call area within that given time frame, so that they may have an opportunity or option to select the ball as per their own choice. Some balls are having vowel, some are not. May I request Vishji to go for next slide. Here you can see our master player of previous days, Pathik, is selecting the ball in a pre-match schedule. Next slide, please. Yeah, please take.
The umpire and the assistant umpire should wait for the team captains, coaches, or players of the team event in the call area. The umpire performs the toss for A, B, C, or X, Y, Z. Whoever wins the toss gets to choose. The umpire will cross out A, B, C, or X, Y, Z before giving the form to those present. When the forms are returned, The umpire is to check that they are correctly filled and signed before handing it to the opposing team representatives to check. The assistant umpire will bring the form for printing, while the umpire will supervise the ball selection. Then the umpire shall ask the information including the nationalities, color of their shirts, size for team benches. The umpire write the names of the players on the racket bags and place the rackets into the correct racket bags. While the first match is playing, the reserved umpire should wait in the call area for the next match's racket check. If the reserved umpire does not receive the notification from the RCC, he or she shall check the rackets by him or herself, or put the rackets in the racket bag and bring them to RCC. If the team send all 3 rackets to the call area for inspection at the same time, the umpire shall arrange the rackets on the correct racket bags. And confirm with the coach and player. If player's racket is not checked before the match, it shall be collected at the end of the match for the after-match test.
Very nice, Tulji.
Thank
You
you,
may
sir.
just clarify what is RCC. Maybe most of them may know, but since it was a short form, you can just clarify what is RCC.
RCC simply means Racket Control Center. There is a designated or specified racket control center, which is little far, but little near to the call area, because this racket control center needs proper ventilation. Which I mentioned earlier also in the chapter of the racket. This VOC and these all things were measured through mini ray machine. So RCC is the center in which a chief referee or the chief racket controller in mutual discussion randomly selects some rackets, because it is not possible if you go with our national ranking, where we are hosting nearly 3,500 matches or sometimes more than that in a particular ranking or zonal ranking. So it is not possible to check all the rackets. So in that situation, the RCC Racket Control Center, the chief racket controller or the chief referee in mutual discussion decides randomly that whose racket has to be checked. So otherwise, some routine checking has been done by the main umpire or the assistant umpire. Otherwise, some specific rackets has been sent to the RCC, that is Racket Control Center. So now we are proceeding for the next slide, that is the practice. The motive of allowing few knocks to the players is to get them acquainted with the ball, the table, the light, or the ambience of that particular FOP. Since 16, 17, 18, sometimes 20 field of plays are managed in a hall, and every FOP are having their own ambience. So that 2 minutes given to the players before the actual practice is just to make them acquainted with the ambience of the field of play. Therefore, players are entitled to have 2 minutes for practicing immediately before the start of the match. However, referee may extend the time under some specific situations. Likewise, after an emergency suspension or change of a ball or racket, only a few knocks can be played. Suppose that 2 minutes has been started and after a minute it is discovered that the ball is broken, then a new ball has been taken. So in that situation, sometimes referee may extend for a few more knocks. So this is the practice period of 2 minutes. Next slide, please. The intervals, as you can read very well, and it is the rule number 3.4.4. You can study it through the rule book, because we are running out of time. I'll just share some few things. It has been discovered by my own self that a singles individual match was going on, and some crucial stage was almost there, and advisor asked for a timeout. Main umpire saw advisor. He, for a very minor seconds, he just halted that whether the player is concentrating towards the words of his advisor or not. Player has seen his advisor or his coach, and then he keep on playing. Whereas the advisor was keep on insisting to go for the timeout. But knowingly and unknowingly, player denied the will of the advisor. It happens very rarely, but I had witnessed it. And then immediately after a few recalls by the advisor left the chair, and left from the chair and went out of the FOP. So in this situation, we have to be very particular, and we have to inculcate or input some the ethics to our players, or we have to update them also that if there is a team championship, captain of the team is having the last right to call for the timeout. And if it is the individual championship, then the player or the pair are having more precedence of calling the timeouts. Another thing, if the timeout has been taken, suppose A and X are playing, we all already know this rule. A and X are playing, and A has got taken timeout, and A has went out or went to the advisor's bench. X has also went to the advisor's bench. As soon as A has come, X also has to come immediately. Sometimes what happens that we keep our towel in our hand or napkin, and then we are going, and then we are pushing. We are delaying for 2 minutes, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. If it is happening, then please remember, please aware, umpire may consider this as a strategy of deliberately delaying the game. And this act may be sometimes considered as an act of delaying the match, or it can be considered as an act of bringing little sort of disrepute to the game. So please be prepared. Wuxi Asian Championship, I was seeing there, I'm missing the name, the Japanese player, the young girl. But she used to come. She is coming as soon as her advisor or she has taken, or her opponent has taken timeout. She is coming to the advisor's bench. Simply some ice pack or something her advisor is keeping on her forehead. She is gripping a book, reading for that for 10-15 seconds. Another the 50-20 seconds, her advisor is giving her input. And within 45 or 50 seconds, she is ready. She turns herself towards the table, start keeping herself a little warming. And then as soon as the umpire has raised the arm calling the time, or the opponent who has taken timeout has come, she immediately rushed back to the table. So it is a very good gesture. We should prepare, we should teach, we should train our players that if the timeout has been taken by them, their own self, or the opponent, in both situations, they should be mentally prepared that as soon as they will reach to the table, they can be psychologically boost more themselves to face for the next service or receiving. Next, please. One more thing which I think I left in the early talk, that nowadays, since our UTT is there, T2 is also there, some another good leagues are taking place on the different corners of the globe. So all these international prestigious leagues are having little different regulations regarding timeouts. Such leagues like in our own UTT, you can see it, and you may have witnessed it several times, that after every 5th point there is a deliberate timeout. Only 3 games or 5 games or whatever is the design or event. So in that situation, your strategy should be different. And in these regular ITTF events where this timeout is there, it is okay. एक मिथ और बहुत जबरदस्त फैल रहा है. मिथ का तो कुछ किया नहीं जा सकता. मिथ के कारण तो हमारे आपके अपन सब जानते हैं. We are having a friend called Parag Agrawal. He told me a few days back that Russia has banned table tennis because of a myth that it may weaken your eyesight. I think in between 1920 to 1940. Similarly, there is another myth rotating in the air that if the temperature is 36 or 38 or beyond, then there is a rule of relaxation of toweling. No, 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 a big no. ऐसा कोई रूल किसी भी रूल बुक में हमारी टेबल टेनिस में नहीं लिखा हुआ है. There is nothing like that mentioned with the mercury raised up to 36 or 38. Referee may give a additional timeout session for toweling. No, no, no. After every 6 points, there is a rule of toweling. Or if in a situation, it is not written, but it is off the record, it is told that if the ball has gone little far from the FOP and the opponent has gone far to receive the ball or bring back the ball, in that situation, that time can be utilized for toweling. Or in either situation, if genuinely ACs has stopped working into the hall, or it is very high temperature, players are wearing spectacles, or sometimes the heat is such high that regularly player is sweating and sweat drops are regularly dropping on the top of the table, or when the player is gripping the ball on the open palm, the palm wet is also, palm sweat is also making the ball wet, or sometimes the drops are regularly dropping on the surface of the racket. In those situations, umpire himself stops the game, requests the player, please remove the sweat and then continue. Because if they will continue with this similar situation, it is 100% going to affect the outcome of the rally. Outcome may, ball may deviate after dropping on that wet part. So, or if umpire is not citing on that, in that situation, player may show those all things, the marks of the sweat on the palm of the ball, on the racket, on the spectacles, and umpire is 100%, he is there to cooperate you all. He will definitely allow you to go for the towel breaks. But there is nothing in the rule that 36 or 38 temperature automatically a player is entitled. Please have a consent and you can go. If without having a consent of the umpire, regularly a player is going for toweling, then that may be again considered as a deliberate act of delaying the game or breaking the temperament of your opponent, and this may be considered as an act of bringing the game into disrepute. So please make sure, confirm that your umpire has given a consent to you for doing all that. Next slide, please. So in a team match event, player may receive advice from anyone authorized to be at the playing area. And in singles match, individual event may be a singles or a doubles. If the doubles players are from the same association, only one advisor will be there. If they are from two different associations, then two advisors can be designated to that particular bench. For team championship, rule is very, very clear. Anybody on the designated bench can give the advice, but no one from the spectators gallery. There is, my friend coaches are applying these strategies and tactics on various occasions, that the team is sitting, someone else is sitting on the team bench and the actual coach is sitting in the spectators gallery. But ITTF and TTFI is also very smart. When they are receiving the forms, they are taking the name of the coaches, the players, and only those coaches and those players are entitled to sit in the bench. No one else can go in the spectator gallery, and do whatever they want to do. But in doubles, especially if the advisors are from two different associations sitting on the bench, and suppose A and B are the advisors of a pair of a doubles match, A from different country, B from different country, and A has given some illegal advice or has broken some rule, and umpire has shown him a yellow card to A. After few rallies, कुछ rallies के बाद में, suppose B ने भी वही काम किया, कोई छोटा मोटा illegal advice दिया या कुछ और ऐसा काम किया which is not acceptable as per the rules. In that situation, maybe it is the first foul or the first sin of a coach. But in that situation, being a unit, the main umpire will show a red card to B, and A and B all together has to leave the bench. It is very clear in the rule book. So please be concerned and थोड़ा सा इस चीज का आपको ध्यान देना ज्यादा ठीक रहेगा. Can we go for next slide? This is again the advice. एक चीज और हम लोगों ने नोटिस की है कि when this 2 minutes practice period has been given to the players, after the completion of the 2 minutes, sometimes players goes back to the advisor's bench for keeping some towel or doing anything, but that is not okay. That is not as per the rules. उस वक्त इस चीज को डिस्करेज करने के इंस्ट्रक्शंस हम लोगों को रेगुलर टीटीएफआई और आईटीटीएफ से मिलते रहते हैं. और अब तो चूंकि it is in the favor of the coaches that when the rally is not there, the ball is dead, that in that case, in that situation, little utterly or little loudly, the advisors can keep on giving the content or giving the tips or giving the advice to the players. So please, after the completion of the 2 minutes, or if both players are early to play before the completion of the 10 minutes, let them play. Once they will have the timeout or they will complete their game, then they can come out. And in between the time of the retrieval of the ball, when the ball is coming towards your side or the opponent has gone little far on the either side to retrieve the ball, in that situation you can give. But please try to avoid that situation, that before the start of the match and after the completion of the 2 minutes, refrain yourself for giving the advice. Slide 25, 26 is over, I think. Now the next is another story I just want to share. There एक बहुत बड़ा एक event हो रहा था. A big game was going on. That was team championship final. A has played his match against X, B has played his against Y, and C is playing against his match against Z. And neutral umpire from the other country was officiating, and when the match between C and Z was going on, the umpire has shown a red card, because previously he has shown a yellow card to that particular country's bench, and shown a red card to a person, to a player who was A and supposed to go in to play for the first reverse singles. It's not that all coaches are very much updated with the rule, but that country coach and the other country's coach straightforward went to umpire, started confronting. Referee was called, referee intervened the session. One was saying he cannot be shown red card, otherwise how can he come and play his first reverse singles? No, withdraw your red card, otherwise we have to forfeit the match. Similarly, the other coach of that country was saying, no. Once he has been shown red card, then the next reverse singles match has to be given to us, because now he cannot come. Friends, clearly written in the rule book, only the coach or the advisor has to go out, or the person who is not supposed to come back and play has to go out, and no one can replace their seats. उनकी जगह पे ऐसा नहीं है कि यदि एक कोच बाहर चला गया है तो असिस्टेंट कोच उसकी जगह पर आके बैठ जाएगा. नहीं, वो गया तो गया. No one can replace him. But a player who is supposed to come back and play can come back, play, and after completion of the fourth match, that is AY, again he has to go back so far from the FOP, and if required, B and X will play. It is very clear. तो इस चीज को का ऐसा नहीं है कि बड़े इंटरनेशनल कोचेस भी कई बार ऐसी छोटी चीजों के लिए अपडेटेड नहीं होते हैं. So please go through with the books again. This is my request. Now a very important slide you can see on your screen.
You want the next slide to be shown?
Yeah, no, it is there. Penalty point system, it is there, the behavior.
Okay.
Here we have to clearly understand title, cultural difference. Few years back, up to 2013-14, 2014, we were in Beijing Sports University along with the other senior referees of the country. वहाँ हम लोगों को एक slide दिखाई गई थी, and that slide was having a comparative chart of the tournaments in different continents. Oceania's event, Europe event, Asian event, African event, American event. 2014 में दिखाया गया था, and the event took place, means the calendar of used in preparing the chart was 2012. In that यूरोप के चार्ट में एक इवेंट के अंदर करीब 140 येलो कार्ड्स प्लेयर्स के लिए दिखाए गए, उसके जो रेफरी लॉग बुक होती है उसमें दिखाए गए थे। अमेरिका के करीब 90 थे, ओशिनिया के करीब 60 थे, अफ्रीका के करीब 90 थे, और एशिया के शायद 11 या 12 थे। Only 11 and 12 yellow card in an whole event, in which before preparing that graphical presentation, the statistician has used those tournaments in which almost 50 to 60 players were similar, जो different ITTF rankings होती। But that was 2012. 2012 तक ये था कि कुछ एक पर्टिकुलर कॉन्टिनेंट के प्लेयर्स ज्यादा एग्रेसिव हुआ करते थे, कुछ पर्टिकुलर कॉन्टिनेंट के ऑफिशियल्स बहुत ज्यादा स्टक विद द रूल्स एंड वेरी मच हार्ड एंड हार्श हुआ करते थे। बट नाउ द सिनेरियो इज चेंज, द होल ग्लोब इज अ फैमिली, एंड इन लास्ट 8 years वी हैड ट्रैवल्ड अ लॉट। यूरोप के ऑफिशियल्स इंडिया आ रहे हैं, एशिया में आ रहे हैं, एशिया के यूरोप जा रहे हैं, यूएस जा रहे हैं, ओशिनिया जा रहे हैं। सो देयर इज अ बिग फैमिली नाउ, एंड देयर इज अ यूनिफॉर्मिटी इन गिविंग द डिसीजंस referred with the penalty point systems, with the application of rules, with the misbehaviors. So all are things, the whole globe is coming as a family, whole ITTF is coming as a family, and more or less the decisions given by the umpires or the behavior of the players are almost similar. So if you have seen that an event played in a different continents, at least you can, मैं आपको थोड़ा सा एक slide, एक next slide पे जाने के I will request विश्व जी एक और आगे बढ़े प्लीज। यहाँ पर पेनल्टी पॉइंट सिस्टम को समझने के लिए आपको सबसे ज्यादा जो टफ जो चीज होती है वो कार्ड सिस्टम को फॉलो करने की होती है। पेनल्टी पॉइंट सिस्टम के अंदर आपको कई चीजें देखनी है, वो ये है कि कार्ड इज ऑलवेज विद यू इन अ होल टीम मैच, पॉइंट्स विल नॉट बी विद यू। इट इज जस्ट लाइक कोरोना की अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं अभी इन दिनों में, तो यदि कोई कोरोना पॉजिटिव आपके घर में आ गया है तो पूरी घर को ही कोरोना पॉजिटिव मान के क्वारंटाइन कर दिया जाता है। सिमिलरली इफ ए एंड एक्स, आप लोगों ने न्यू स्वातंत्र कप से अधिकतर टूर्नामेंट्स खेले हैं, यू मे हैव प्लेड ऑल द टूर्नामेंट्स एज पर न्यू स्वातंत्र कप, बट देयर आर डिफरेंट पैटर्न्स ऑफ प्लेइंग द टूर्नामेंट, द फॉर्मेट ऑफ द प्लेस, जस्ट लाइक यू कैन सी ऑन योर स्क्रीन, there is a pattern of Corbilon Cup, there is a pattern of Olympics, different in which doubles are also played. So in doubles there is a player who is playing a singles match and a doubles match as well. So we can take an example of Corbilon Cup. Suppose as it is displayed on your slide, the first match has been played in between A and X, the second match is between B and Y, and suppose we had taken 2 players only, so the doubles again it is A and B against X and Y, then B and X and A and Y. So 5 matches are there. Suppose in the first match A has incurred 1 penalty point or one yellow card. एक येलो कार्ड दिखा दिया गया है, अभी पेनल्टी पॉइंट नहीं हुआ है, एक येलो कार्ड ए को दिखा दिया गया है और ए और एक्स का मैच समाप्त हो गया है। Then the second match is between B and Y, both had played very cleanly, no cards to anyone, and now doubles has started. So since the doubles has been started, umpire will display 1 yellow card on the side from where A and B are playing, because A and B are already having 1 yellow card. It's not B who is actually incurred that yellow card, but since one of the member of the family, one of the member of the team is having 1 yellow card already, so A will carry that yellow card, A and B will carry that yellow card. Now, for the first time in the match, suppose B has done something mildly or something which is punishable, then what umpire will do? This is first foul of B. आप में से आधे लोग ये समझ रहे होंगे B will be shown a yellow card, और आधे लोग सही समझ रहे होंगे yes, now B will not witness single yellow card. In this situation, B will witness 1 yellow and 1 red card. Maybe it's the first sin, maybe it is the first foul of B, but as a team A and B, both it is their second card. So 1 yellow and 1 red all together to B, and 1 point in favor of their opponent. Clear? Suppose match ended, the score is 2-1. There will be a reverse singles. When there will the fifth match, in that situation, though B has witnessed one yellow and one red altogether, but B has done only one fault, one foul, one sin. So there will be only one yellow card displayed in front of B in the fifth, if required, game. This penalty point system is little bit dicey, little bit tricky. We have to keep on studying. I know few may be knowing it already, few may have tried to understand it today. And I request you all, while the pep talks, every state is having more than 5-10 international umpires of India. Please go, please consult, and please try to understand this rule if still you are not confident with this PPS. Since we are having very lesser time, I request you to go for the next slide, please. This is what we had already shared, which is this is what we had already discussed. Next slide, please. Vishwajit ji, next slide, please. Yes, now comes uniform or kit. Uniform or kit is a very serious issue. I had witnessed 2010 Olympic Games, 2010 Commonwealth Games, 2040 Olympic Games, 2014 Commonwealth Games, 2018 Youth Olympics, in which few of the players, because knowingly or I do not know why, unknowingly I do not know, the apparels given to them by their respective governments were not as per the IOC's specifications. Every IF, every international federation is having their own say. Then there is having some slight relaxation as per the GOCs, the Games Organizing Committees. And then International Olympic Committee is also having their own say. Similarly, in India, our national games, they are having their own regulations and specifications regarding the uniform of the players. But IOAs means our own Olympic Association or different Olympic Association of different countries. They most probably they go through with the rules and regulations prescribed for the kit and apparels. But sometimes, if you had been chosen to represent your country or to represent your state in national games, please go to the sites of the IFs or the national federations or the National Olympic Associations or committees, study them, and then if you had been asked, if not asked, please, I am requesting you to please poke your nose, give little limitations or the rules that this has been asked, this has been prescribed. So the t-shirts, because some countries in table tennis, because their national federations has given them white t-shirts, are coming to play in the white t-shirts. This has been witnessed so many times. Then there are so many limitations of the advertisements. You can go through with the rule book. 600 centimeter square is different, 40 centimeter square is different. In the games or some special events like Commonwealth Games, Lusophonia Games, Francophonic Games, National Games, Olympic Games, Asian Games, even the socks, even the shorts, even the wraparounds, even the trousers, even the shorts, even the skirts, t-shirts, headgears, wristbands, everything is having some specification of advertisements. So please study them. Otherwise, what happens, they usually tape with multicolor, or they usually prefer the color of the t-shirt your player is wearing. They tape it on the socks, on the shoe, on the t-shirt, and then your player is asked to perform. Then due to constant sweating, that tape is removing. Then they're asking, come back, come out, retape. It is constantly breaking the focus, the concentration of your player. So to refrain from that situation, please study the rules regarding the specifications of the advertisements, the names, the back numbers, or whatever in the rules of Olympic Association or the National Association or the Games Association, and then give your valuable inputs in preparing the apparels. Next slide, please. Can you show it fully? So we had almost reached to the last slide, but before I switch to last cuisine of today's delayed lunch, let me first give you a very small introduction of expedite system. what is expedite system? Expedite system is a procedure of play which helps the organizing team to cut in the matches in a given time frame. Though nowadays we rarely find the defense players with us. So the offense players or the good players are wrapping up the game in 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. But if there is a rule that if the total of the points has been not reached to 18 and the time limit of 10 minutes has been reached, in that situation, the assistant umpire or the main umpire who is responsible to control or record the time of that particular game says stop, and then expedite system comes into the operation. What is expedite system? In that situation, assistant umpire or main umpire calls a referee, then there is a stroke counter who enters in the field of play, and then player starts playing. Whoever is the next server. Remember, in the condition of expedite system, if the time limit has been reached when the ball is in play, then first it will be a let and the previous server will remain the next server. But if the time limit has been reached when the ball is out of play, the previous rally was matured, then maybe a second service of that particular server was left. But in that situation, the next server will be the last receiver. Then the server will serve and receiver will start giving returns. Two things to remember. Stroke counter is simply counting the stroke, the returns. There are two different things referred in the rule book: returns and good returns. Whether the return is good or not, stroke counter has nothing to do with that. But if stroke counter has counted receiver's first return 1, 2, 3, 4, in that situation, return will be counted loudly by the stroke counter, but main umpire or the assistant umpire has to make it sure that that return is a good return or not. In the situation, if the return is not good, obviously the server will claim a point. In between these 13 rallies, if the ball has gone out or someone has scored the point, okay. If not, as soon as the 13th return will convert it into a good return, the receiver will have 1 point and then the receiver will be the next server. This is simply a expedite system. To study more, please refer the book. Now, this was an addition because last evening when I discussed with superior bosses that this is the slide, some of my immediate boss, supreme boss suggested me that, and you all coaches, on referee days, we had witnessed that as soon as the group league is over, the biggest crowd coming to the referees, maybe to senior Dubey sir, Claire sir, Ganeshan sir, Third AG, Mukherjee, whoever is sitting on the referee days, some 50, 60, 40, as much the groups were there in the group leagues, coaches. So you see, we had won 2 matches and lost 1 match. So we are colliding with the other. He is also 1-2. So he is going to proceed in the next. Please, my humble request is that please have a screenshot of this slide, note it down and start working on this. I had tried to help you a bit. In this, 4 players are there, and to sensationalize this event, I had taken 4 players. The name of the 4 players are, you can see, 2 are the topmost actresses from Hollywood, that is Emma and Natalia, and 2 from Bollywood, Kiara and Anushka. So they all has played an event, and the scores are mentioned in front of their blocks. Anushka has won all the 3 matches. So she is the first in the group. And Emma, Kiara, and Natalia, they had won 1 matches and lost 2 matches. Suppose 2 from the group are going to qualify. Who will qualify? You all are having a jinx that how to break the tie. This is a very good example in front of you. You study it, download it, do some exercise. 2 tips before finishing my session I am giving you, that whenever there is a tie in between 2 players, रेसिप्रोकली हु हैज वन, आपस में उनके मैचेस में से जो भी जीता है वो सुपीरियर माना जाएगा. यदि मेरा मैच किसी मेरे ओपोनेंट के साथ में, तीसरे के साथ और चौथे के साथ हुआ है और 2 खिलाड़ी हम एक ही सिचुएशन में हैं, 2 जीते 1 हारे हैं, और कोई टाई नहीं है, तो हम दोनों के आपस के मैचेस में से जो जीता है, he will march towards the stage 2. But if they are free, as you can see in the slide, Emma, Kiara, and Natalia, free, 2 from Hollywood, 1 from Bollywood, are clashing on the same stage. All 3 has won 1 match, all 3 has lost 2 matches. Then what has to be done? So the first procedure to break the tie is to take the quotient between the games won against games lost. यदि एमा ने 4 मैच जीते, 4 गेम्स जीते थे और 3 गेम्स हारी थी, या जो भी इसमें आगे आपको नजर आ जाएगा, आप स्टडी करेंगे तो उसका आप कोशेंट निकाल लीजिए. उसके कोशेंट से आपके सामने टाई बिल्कुल क्लियर हो जाएगी. जिसका कोशेंट हाईएस्ट होगा, मे बी 1.25 इज द हाईएस्ट और 1.5 इज द हाईएस्ट, तो वह खिलाड़ी अगले राउंड में जाएगा. समटाइम्स इफ इन 3 में से 2 खिलाड़ी ऐसे निकल जाते हैं जिनके 5/5 या 5 जीते 5 हारे या 5 जीते 4 हारे, इस तरह से कोई क्वेश्चन आता है, then in that situation the ratio again come back to the basics. If there is a tie after sweeping out Natalia का जो क्वेश्चन था वो 1 ही था, परंतु एम्मा का और कियारा का क्वेश्चन 1.25 या 1.5 था, तो then again there will be the tie that who has won in between their reciprocal game. So that player will again go to the stage 2. So with this all, I am continuing my session. And before I continue my session, let me avail the opportunity to thanks to Sports Authority of India, Shri S. Kumar sir, Shri Sandeep Pradhan sir, to my own bosses, TTFI bosses, our President Totalaji, Secretary General Shri MP Singh sir, our Treasurer Shri Arun Banerjee sir. Thanks to the young professional Bishwajit for all the technical support. Thanks to my own mentor, my guide, not only mine, thousands of the players and coaches and the officials in the country, Shri Dhanraj sir. And last but not the least, I remember my childhood, I used to stand for nearly half an hour to take the autograph of that person. Now having a privilege to share the screen with him, none other than the legendary Shri Kamlesh Mehta sir, the moderator, the perfect anchor of such a highly reputed program. Thanks to all. Please accept my gratitude, and I'll pray to Almighty, pray to my God, that very near in future, we may all interact with each other in actual, not virtual. Till then, happy, keep your urge to learn more things, your curiosity to explore new horizons. Namaste. Thank you. Vanakkam to all. Thank you, Kamlesh sir.
Thank you, Dr. Atul Dubey, for your wonderful presentation. It was very enlightening for all of us. And frankly speaking, some of the myths that you actually has clarified will also help all the coaches. Yes, we will straight away go to the question. But one thing I would like to observe and say that India has been going through a very golden phase in table tennis. And in that, the technical officials have a very important and a very silent role. They are always at the background. As he very mentioned that we are technically very strong. Our technical officials are doing wonders and also enhancing the name of the country in world of table tennis. So it's really nice, and we should play a silent thanks to all the technical officials, because when a tournament, he mentioned that there are 3,500 matches being held in a national championship. So just imagine per day how many matches, and this is done starting from morning 9 o'clock to ending sometimes at 10 o'clock, right, Mr. Dr. Atul? So they do that work. It's a very tiring work, and really thank you and all the entire technical team which is making India proud. Thank you so much. We'll take few questions. Biswajit, how much time do we have?
So we can take 2 or 15 minutes more.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'll straight away go to the questions. Dr. Atul, the first question coming is that a player is playing with 2 rackets. He's got 2 different rackets of different surfaces, and he's going for a match. What is the process for him to do the racket testing? Like if the first match he would want to play with plain rubber, then the reverse match he might be intending to play with some other rubber. What is
See, the rules are made not to create any sort of hazard or any sort of bearing to any player. Rules are there to help them. Every match is having a pre-racket testing and every match is having a post-racket testing. If the pre-racket testing has not been done, all the players prefer to play with one racket, or few of them may prefer to play with two rackets. Whatever they wants to go, one particular match they have to play with one racket only until unless it is not accidentally broken. This is in the rule. So suppose A and X match he has played with one racket, then he has to give his racket to the pre-racket testing area or into the call area, and that will be tested, and then it will be wrapped into the pouch, as you may all we may all have seen in the video. So that racket will not be given to the player, and it will be directly handed over to the player into the FOP by the someone who is assisting the main umpire. But if reverse singles, there is no as such rule is silent there. It is not mentioned that he cannot change the racket. In that situation, he can approach to the referee. He can submit his genuine plea, and then referee has to decide whether he can ask him or allow him to play. But then in that situation also, that racket will be sent to RCC, and there will be a pre-racket testing, and then he or she can play.
So basically, the racket has to be tested wherever testing facilities are available, and then he can definitely change the racket. Second is that if a player is found to be playing with a banned rubber during the game is already started, then what is the action?
It is not possible, no? Because there is a pre-racket testing. Suppose a player has not reported during that 40 minutes or 20 minutes time, and directly he has come to play on the field of play and he has started playing. If the match is over and there will be, since the pre-racket test was not there, then after completion of the match, there will be a post-racket test. And in that post-racket test, if the racket is failed, then there are multiple sort of actions taken by the rules committee or by the referee or by the jury. It is prescribed in the rule book.
This is when the racket testing is happening, but supposing it's happening in places where racket testing is not there, facility is not there, you know, many local tournaments, it doesn't happen. And the umpire realizes that the rubber that he's playing, the player is playing, supposing say 2 games are over and then that rubber is banned rubber. So what will happen? Will the match be started from the beginning or will continue with the new racket or what?
No, the thing is that before the start of the match, precisely all the umpires are checking the rackets. Before the match, when the player is coming to play, every umpire, it is in the doctrine of our training that we all have to check the rackets, and racket has been checked before the start of the match. If the racket is broken, or if the racket is having some shade or the pimples in between the rackets, maybe pimple out rubber is there, it is broken as per the specifications, not allowed. Okay, in between the game, if it is broken, that situation also I had prescribed earlier also, that if the striking surface is broken, then racket has to be changed.
When voluntary testing you mentioned, so is there in a voluntary testing a player might give one racket during voluntary test, but he can also play with different racket during the match, right?
Technically, suppose I am used to play with particular rubbers, maybe on forehand or backhand or particular ply. So the other racket will also be the same ply, same rubbers on forehand or backhand.
My question is that what is the guarantee that what racket which I give for voluntary testing may be the same one that I play in the actual match?
The voluntary racket testing is for favoring the player, not the officials or the organizing committee or the state. It is just for his player's own sake, that he is confident that his racket has been tested. But if he is giving some other racket in the pre-match test, then still there is a probability that racket may be found illegal. So I don't think that the smart players will go with this.
Do that, right? Absolutely. Then one question on VOC. Is there any procedure that all these glues that are made have to be affiliated or recognized by ITTF or any body, TTFI?
Can you repeat question?
We have this water-based VOC-free glues being manufactured. So is does the manufacturer require official permission to manufacture and sell those glues? Or
there is a equipment committee in ITTF, and everything which is involved in ITTF events has to avail a prior consent from the ITTF. Maybe the rubber, maybe the sandwiches, maybe the glue, maybe the ply. and after having a consent and permission from ITTF only, they can sell it or they can offer it in the market.
So basically, if they are selling it, it has to be on their bottle or whatever tube. ITTF approved stamp should be there.
Yeah, in Lark, actually, since we were running out of time.
No problem. I think people can check it also.
Yeah.
And there's
every rubber is having some numbers written on that. Suppose Nitaku 04.
That is for rubbers, but for VOC free glue, is there a
no. There is nothing. There is nothing.
Nothing for glue.
But one thing I can sure that Omni is not having ITTF approval.
Okay, fine. Other thing is that is there any specification on the light that has to be there on the table? One, and secondly,
yes,
arena that should be given for playing, because basically the choppers they need more arena. So is there any specification?
Yeah, light specification is there. The measuring intensity of light is in lux. So up to 800 to 1000 lux are very much essential required on the table and the FOP. In the remaining field of play, means apart from that 2.74 and 1.5 to P, 1.5 to 5, it may be 900 or 1000 lux. But on
Hello, Atul.
National events.
Yeah, sorry, we missed you. Atul, I'm sorry to disturb you, but just for a few seconds, we missed you. So can you just say again?
In all the ITTF events, especially in our table tennis events also, on precisely on the show courts, our lights is beyond 1000 lux. But on the other tables, it should be up to 1000 lux, especially on the tables, and 550 or 100 lux deviation or variation may take place on the remaining field of play 7x14. 8x6 meter is the minimum requirement for the para players. Though their wheelchair is not moving a lot, but 8x6 meters are minimum requirement for the international event. But in national rankings, we may sometimes reduce this specification by 6 to 12 meters. Meanwhile, I had received a racket. I can show you here. It is clearly mentioned. Here the numbers are written.
Correct.
So these numbers, we can very well comfortably trace it to the Lark whether this rubber is available to play with or not.
I think that's a wonderful thing that the ITTF has everything on their website, so one can always check and confirm. And now in this information age, it's not so difficult to do so. And last question is that one question has come, that how to become a national umpire.
How to become a national umpire?
National umpire, to procedure for becoming a national officer of a registered national umpire.
So to qualify the 12th board examination, one has to go with first 10th board, then 8th board. Similarly, he or she has to start officiating in the district, has to come in the good book of the district association, then they may send them for the state association, state rankings, state championships. After having an experience of a year or two, state will nominate you for the national rankings or national championships. Once you have developed the confidence to be a national umpire, then federation are on a regular interval. Few years, for last 3-4 years, we had stopped, but before that, we were regularly conducting the national umpiring examination. Hopefully, we'll again start it. And once you will become an international umpire, you can a national umpire. You can appear after 2 years in an international umpire examination. And luckily, today, if not less than 20 blue badge umpires India is having, as you said. But one thing I want to share with all the persons who are aspiring to be umpire. Dear friends, a player is playing maybe in 2 different age categories, but is playing 5, 6, or 7 matches a day. But an umpire or a referee is coming before the dawn, before the sun is rising, is coming to the stadium and going back to the hotel when almost moon is on the top. So 15 to 16 hours a day, umpire or a technical official or the referee is working. So if you had tied your belt to join this fraternity, you all are welcome. But then be prepared to give your best for 17 to 18 hours a day to work.
Thank you very much for the insight on both the sides, difficult of being an umpire or a referee, and also how the rules that are made, a player can intelligently use them for their benefit without breaking the rules and being fair. Thank you very much, Dr. Atul Dubey. Participant, thank you all. It's actually because of you that we are able to spread this message, good message of our game. So thank you all. Thanks to Sports Authority of India, Table Tennis Federation of India, and our evaluator Manjushri ma'am, and the technical team. We must not forget they are the ones who are actually making it possible for all of us to be together like this. Thank you all, technical team. Biswajit, thank you very much. And with these few words, I request Biswajit to please put on the slide for the examination for today evening's sports science session and tomorrow's speaker.